while. We've been off for a couple of weeks. We have an all new crew today.
Yeah.
Not all new, just a little crew.
Yep.
If you want to flash back, 2 weeks ago, we dropped the horrible, sad news that our loving producer, Alex Snyder, followed in the footsteps of Nikki Brackets and went to Minnesota.
Minnesota, man.
So now we're over to for producers. New person's coming in, hopefully. So we're all good on that. Right now, Ace producer Matt Bryant, publisher of the Southeast Iowa Union, is here on the ones and twos. So that's why we're able to come to you, Hunter, from our old studio.
Yep, the old location.
This is crazy.
Although technically this is still
The current location.
The current location. We just either, we just got to meet up in the office of Mount Pleasant since we're there. But
we do it from all over.
But
the
this
place.
is like the main studio.
Yeah, remember that time we flirted with doing a pregame show from Drake Stadium, and then we realized that there was a game before Waco's or something like that. We couldn't do it.
Yeah,
that was good times. We're here, powered by Fairway Food Stores, as usual, and all the advertisers that you see on our little screen. Oh, I see there's a screen back there where I can see what's below me right now.
Yeah, there you go. I like that. I like that.
Remax affiliates, obviously, Up Home, most of these, by the way, if you are scrolling through all of our advertisers, the majority of these have been with us for a long time, if not since day one. They are ride or die with Southeast Iowa Union. They're ride or die with Southeast Iowa Union Sports Talk. So was it patronize them? Is that the word? If I want to go to like Wagon Wheel and get some tacos, that's patronizing them.
Yeah.
Patronize them. And we're going to patronize you with a little bit of high school softball. Last night, we call Mount Pleasant, Washington, and Fairfield the big schools.
Yep.
Softball Mid-Prairie is a 3A school too. So our four biggish schools, our 3A and 4A teams, were in action. And Hunter Muller was on scene for, spoiler alert, the one of those four teams that will be moving on. Hunter, you were in Washington, Iowa.
Yes,
as
I was.
We are right now. And tell me what you saw, Washington versus Midland.
Yeah, Washington taking on Midland in the first round. Obviously, Washington the favorite in this one, obviously, in the rankings most of this season. Really, it's kind of, a back and forth game, I would say. Midland was pretty good on the night, putting the ball into play, but the Washington defense was just too good. Bella Salazar got the Demons going in the bottom of the first inning with an RBI single to score her sister, Leighton Salazar, and from then on out, 3 and out for Midland, bottom of the second, and 2 RBI double by Lauren Hendrickson gives the Demons a 3-0 lead, and from then on out, it was pretty much all Washington. There was a pair of scoreless innings in the third and fourth, but 3 runs each in the fifth and sixth get the job done for Washington, and they advance. Leighton Salazar, 3 hits for her on the night. Pretty good game. 2 runs scored, 3 stolen bases. Isabel Salazar, 3 RBIs on 1 hit. She also was in the circle. And one thing I talked about with Coach Oberman is like, how is it? You got girls that can, there's kind of 3 main girls that Washington throws on the mill. Colby Griner, Hallie Cuddyback, and Bella Salazar. All can get the strikeouts. Tonight, Salazar had 4 strikeouts in the game. But as I mentioned to you on the way up here, Midland was pretty good at getting the bat to the ball. But
yes,
Washington's real good at corralling those balls if they're in the air on the ground. Great defense. So if they can keep that up, they can make a pretty good run, I think. So Washington wins 10-0. They'll be taking on Central Lee. Central Lee, they did beat earlier in the season 12-2, but throw everything out the window and playoff time, and Central Lee's a pretty good team.
I'll tell you, Central Lee has a really good offense. They have given up some runs in the South Division this year, but their offense is crazy good. I saw him play at the Fairfield tournament. By the way, you mentioned Bella Salazar getting those RBI, so I wanted to look this up because something I've noticed is that she's been their ace pitcher for the last couple of years, but this year she's in that 3 spot for Washington. What is her average? And this summer she is hitting 357. Now, I didn't look this up before. I could have had an egg on my face, but I don't. She hit 227 last year, so she's up over 100 and she's up 130 points on her batting average. That's a huge difference. That they have one more super good bat. She was a little lower in the lineup. Now it's like that's one of the kids that come up where like she's going to do a lot of damage.
And it's nice when you have when you have that, I mean, you have Leighton Messenger leading off, and it seems like she gets
Salazar.
Messenger. I'm thinking volleyball. Leighton Salazar, and from the get go when she came up, she was. Yeah. I mean, she was hitting like 600 last year.
Yeah.
And she's hitting over 500 this year. So I mean, when you can almost have someone on base, that often, it's good to have, those bats behind her. So
yeah, and then they just have power bat after power bat right behind her too. Olivia Anderson's went crazy this year too. In the 4th spot. So I
think she's leading the team in RBIs.
And those averages are against very good competition because they have not played any cupcakes away from the conference, schedule. Non-conference, they were stacked this year. So they had a few more losses because of that, But yeah, so Washington moving on. What day is that? That would be Saturday, right?
Yep.
And
they'll be at Washington. At Washington, right here in Washington.
Washington Central Lee. I was in Albia. I made the trip to Albia, Iowa last night. My old high school rivals visited the site where I still have a little bit of PTSD from dropping a fly ball in the outfield during an all-star game one time.
Ooh.
It turned into like 6 runs. I drove by the field. You have to drive by the baseball field to get to the softball field. No, not on that play, but it was 2 outs.
I got you.
I dropped it, and then it was one of those things where I just had to watch run after run go out. And anyway, so it's, there's bad vibes, I think, when I'm in Monroe County Sports Complex. And I'll tell you what, Fairfield, first inning, Lainey Norris, 1, 2, 3. It took about 5 seconds to get Albia's offense out of there. Second inning, bad stuff happened. And I just want to say Albia's Sydney Hoskins has something against the Southeast Iowa Union having good stories because she blasted. She went up 2 times, got up to the plate 2 times, hit 2 balls about 350 feet. One of them smashed the scoreboard. She went 2 for 2. She only batted in the second inning. She had 2 homers in the second inning. Albia scored 15 runs in the second inning. There were a couple of Fairfield mistakes. There was an error, a couple of tough play errors. There was what I thought was a bad call at home, which should have been an out at home plate. And just a couple of, bang plays. They had a girl, Albia stole. This is early in the rally. Albia stole. They threw down. They got the tag on, but the ball dropped. So there were a few. They let Albia have, the bases loaded or whatever. And then Albia made them pay over and over and over and over again. Albia in the SEC, which Cardinals in. We could talk about that at the B break a little bit, but the South Central Conference is basically completely stacked. I think they went undefeated yesterday. Albia was not even in the
all those
running
teams
for
are
the championship this year. Right. And they look like they were a juggernaut for that one inning. And then unfortunately, 12-run rule kicks in after 3 innings, which means they scored these 15 in the second inning. And then I looked up at the board and I was like, all right, let's see, what do we have to do? I was like, Fairfield has to score 4 runs in this next at bat to even keep it alive, and they had the bottom of the order up. So tough one. Lainey Norris and Leah Helmick both pitched. I wonder how many there were. Only 9 of those were earned runs. There's still 9 earned runs, but there were 2 hits in the game. Varsity Bound does not credit Savannah Hollander. She had an infield single. I, as the newspaper boy covering it, did credit her with a leadoff single to start things off. Maybe they called it an error. And then Amelia Miller, I guess officially ruined the perfect game with a hit 9th batter of the game. She had a single there. So, but other than that, stats-wise, there's not much for Fairfield because everybody only batted 1 time.
Right.
So Albia moves on. And I will tell you that they will be playing against Sheraton because the Chargers defeated Mid-Prairie last night.
Yep.
Mid-Prairie is one of those teams where they didn't have the type of record that I thought they would.
But they were dangerous.
But yes, but we knew going in, and they got an unlucky bracket because they do have 2 SEC teams in the bracket in the first place. So Mid-Prairie lost 4-0 last night. I actually checked my phone at the end of the Albia game because Albia and Sheraton are like 20 minutes away from each other. And I thought, could I get to Mid-Prairie's game? Because at Albia's game, the Albia Fairfield game went quick. But I tuned in and it was like the top of the 6th already. So that one went pretty quick as well. Sheraton 4, Mid-Prairie 0. So it was a nice pitching effort, defense from Mid-Prairie because Sheraton scores a lot of runs. We saw them at the Fairfield tournament, but Golden Hawks knocked out as well.
Yep.
And that leaves
tough game. That leaves just
nobody in 3A.
Yeah, just 3. Well, Washington.
Well, yeah, sorry. We talked about three.
But you mean
teams.
what we talked about? But we only have 3 teams left.
Yes, we only have 3 teams left. Period.
Cardinal on the softball side.
Highland and Washington.
Yep.
And another reason for that, Mount Pleasant went to Central DeWitt, a long drive.
Yeah.
When you're going to the Illinois border that it's tough. 15-2 loss. We don't have stats from that one yet. I know it ended early.
Yep.
And I know that Central DeWitt plays in a really good conference.
Yeah. And the record's kind of deceiving. Because I think they have 8 wins.
9 wins.
Yeah, 9 wins now.
So Mount Pleasant ended this year with 3 wins. Mid Prairie ended this year with 7 wins, and Fairfield ended this year with 10 wins. Luckily for a lot of those teams, not very many seniors, those 3 teams combined. So
very young team in Mount Pleasant doing. Washington's going to be. If you're looking even Washington, all the Southeast Conference teams have a lot of young talent on them.
Yeah. Washington's only got a couple seniors. It's weird to think about because most of those girls have been playing forever. But they will carry the 3A, 4A flag for the Southeast Iowa Union.
Yep.
In fact, we've got one team carrying the flag in 3 different classes. We've got Washington 3A, Cardinal in 2A, and Highland in 1A, and that's all we got. So we'll talk a little bit more about Highland and Cardinal when we get back from this break. Stick with us. We will talk more softball, a little small school baseball coming up, and we still have the preview of the 3A baseball games tonight. So stick with us. Nice, good time.
At the Capper Auto Group, we put our customers' needs first and understand that everyone is as different as the vehicle they select. We offer new Ford, Chevrolet, Buick, GMC, Jeep, Chrysler, Dodge, and Ram vehicles in a friendly environment that puts you in the driver's seat. When it comes to service, we maintain factory-trained technicians and competitive pricing. The Capper Auto Group still believes that service after the sale provides the best customer experience. Come see the Capper experience for yourself.
Federation Bank is a locally owned bank providing award-winning customer service. We believe that we are more than just a federation of banks, but a federation of communities, serving Brighton, Richland, Wellman, and Washington, Iowa. Federation Bank's highly skilled staff is here to make sure you are able to accomplish your personal and professional goals, whatever they may be. Federation Bank, your family bank.
Introducing Hy-Vee Market Grill, where every meal is a delight. Start your day with our mouthwatering breakfast options and savor flavorful lunches with friends and family. Cap off your day with our delectable dinners. Hy-Vee Market Grill, where every moment is delicious.
Bring the kids and share the memories at the 2024 Midwest Old Threshers Reunion. Steam engines, antique cars and trucks, tractors, gas engines, and horses. Great food from the North Village or the Log Village. Plus, learn how to square dance over at the Dance Bar. This is the place where memories are made. Make plans now to enjoy the history of the past at the 2024 Midwest Old Threshers Reunion. August 29th through September 2nd in Mount Pleasant. Visit oldthreshers.com for more details.
Welcome, everyone. Everyone getting ready for Midwest Old Threshers. Saw that was the last commercial on the group. You excited for that, Hunter?
Oh, yeah.
Gonna go and get some root beer over there. We are powered by Fairway, first and foremost. They are our big sponsor. Maybe hit up some Fairway tonight after the... You're going to be in Fairfield. I was going to say after the Washington softball game on Saturday, whichever one goes to it. Hunter, we're going to talk about the small school. We'll talk a little small school softball first. You and I were boots on the ground for this entire 1A bracket, basically.
Yes, sir.
1A Sub-State 6, which is a lot of our teams. And we unfortunately saw
A couple
four
defeats.
teams get knocked out. We see four. I mean,
I saw
I
two.
saw a team win, but...
I haven't seen anybody win.
And I saw two. So why don't we talk about your experience with 1A Sub-State?
We'll start out with the first game I was at, Danville, New London. I would say, I don't want to say bitter rivals, but
you
rivals.
were a New London kid, so you would know.
Yeah.
pretty bitter.
So rivalry game, New London. One of New London's wins this season, the first one of the season, was against Danville earlier on. But the Tigers are knocked out this time 9-7 by the Bears. It was kind of a wild game. It was kind of New London, the errors are what hurt them the most early on. Danville got a lot of easy runs, eventually built a 9-2 lead. New London never gave up. In the bottom of the 7th inning, the Tigers scored 5 runs, brought it all the way back to 9-7, and they had bases loaded. Kind of a bang play. Tigers got a hit. It was kind of a low hanging pop up. The third baseman kind of caught it, but it kind of looked like it wasn't. They weren't sure if she could get there, so the girl that was at third took off, and then I'm trying to remember who it was off the top of my head, but took off. Olivia Hester was at third. That's who it was. She took off towards home, trying to put some points on the board, and Danville girl at third made a great play, ended up running back to third and tagging up for the double play to end it. And you could just feel the energy change in the place when bases were loaded 9-7.
Yeah,
it was like one big hit, and it was coming up top of the order after that with Sophie Malott, and we know she can. The New London's lone senior, we know she can do some damage. We've seen that
definitely. She's the bat you want up in that exact situation.
Oh, why is this not?
Yeah, I remember calling. I remember that. I knew that it was, what was it, 9-2 going into that?
Yeah, 9-2, and then it was like, oh my gosh, they're going to rally and maybe come back. That would probably be one of the craziest comebacks I think I've ever seen covering sports. Being down that much, scoring 7 to tie it back up. Or
yeah, it would have been
8 to win it.
I've seen a couple of crazy in my my career of the historicness of New London softball. They've had a couple of walk-off wins to go to state on that field. Would have been another nice playoff win. So what, 9-7 was the end of that one. 9-7 was final. Danville knocks out New London. If you are bitter about the rivalry and you're a New London fan, then good news, Danville did lose the next game, 10-0 to Twin Cedars. So you can at least say, well, if we were in that game, maybe that would have been closer. Mm-hmm. But and then you also saw.
I went and headed over to West Point to watch.
West Point, Iowa.
Waco take on Holy Trinity Catholic, one of these teams you did see the following day or the
following night, same place, same bat.
Waco's first year back as a softball program, kind of been a tough year. A lot of young talent, 1 senior on the squad, I believe, 2 juniors. The Warriors took a 2-0 lead early at the top of the first inning. Natalie Wagler, a freshman, and then Madison Miller, also a freshman, both notched those 2 runs for the Warriors. But from then on out, pretty much all Holy Trinity. The Crusaders scored 3 in the first, 8 more in the second, and then 2 in the third end to end it 13-2. The Warriors end their season at, I believe it was 0-17. So bright future ahead, though. I mentioned mostly a lot of freshmen on that team, and for your first year back, they're just trying to get things figured out over there. So they were paired up with Washington. I believe so, right?
Columbus actually.
Oh, it was Columbus.
Waco and Columbus were together.
So I'm thinking baseball on that side.
Yeah, they're still with Washington on baseball.
But so
I saw
Holy Trinity advanced, and you saw that next round.
I did. Well, first off, I saw Waco in the regular season against Pekin. I actually got to go to the game at Waco, which was very nostalgic for me because when I first started this job, there was baseball and softball at Waco. And Waco is probably my favorite place because baseball and softball fields are like right here, so you can cover both easily.
One thing I always got to say about Waco is they have, no matter what sport, they got the coolest jerseys.
Oh yeah, they do.
The powder blue.
Powder blue is a great.
They're like the only ones that have it. Them and like Linville Solly maybe, but
but Waco's are like the purest.
Yeah, the purest.
Pure powder blue. So yeah, they have a bunch of. Obviously, they wouldn't have started the program back up if they didn't have a bunch of young kids that are going to play for a while and hopefully build something. So. Before I talk about my trip to West Point, while you were in New London, I was at Pekin, Winfield, Mount Union. Now, as everyone knows,
you saw 2 crazy games.
Yeah, I did. I saw 2 crazy games in a row. As everyone knows, Pekin, Winfield, Mount Union is the softball showdown that has produced fireworks such as the 28-27 game last year. Mm-hmm. For a little while, I thought that might be we might be getting a little part 2 because. After 3 innings, it was already 8-7. Winfield Mount Union. Pekin actually led 7-1. Winfield started to kind of chip back. They loaded the bases. Now I'm jogging my memory because at this point it's like 3 games ago. But I remember Josie Nelson hit a hard ground ball off of the third baseman, which kind of trickled into just nowhere land, which allowed Winfield to score a couple. Micaiah Lauer, who Pekin was, as the kids say, piecing up. I've heard a lot of baseball players say, hey, you're piecing me up, a.k.a. hitting off of her in the first 3 innings, just buckled down, only only gave up 1 run after that. So Winfield was up 8-7. Then Pekin came, tied the game in the 6th. And Winfield Mount Union's Josie Ford, 9th batter in the lineup, had a 2-out infield single to put Winfield Mount Union up 1 run in the 7th. I think I texted you. I said I think that Pekin's probably going to score in the top of the 7th, and we could have a walk off in the bottom of the 7th because everything was turning out. So Pekin gets a girl on second, 2 outs. Ball gets hit right into center field. It was one of those balls that kind of it's one of those perfect hits up the middle where it kind of dies in the outfield a little bit. Josie Nelson, who has one of the best arms of any of our players.
Yeah.
I've just watched 2 Winfield games in the last few games, and I think she threw out or stopped a run from getting to the next base probably like 5 times. She checks it in to try and get the runner coming home, which would have been the tying run, and Lauer cut it off out of habit, I think. Just the ball's here, cut it off, flips around and sees, oh man, the runner's not there yet. Zips it into Lily Heckathorn, who a freshman catcher who hasn't caught every game, but she made the catch, made the play, got the out, and Winfield Mount Union in it. It was a bang play. Pekin was like arguing the call as Winfield was celebrating, so it was a very close play at the plate. I failed at getting the picture perfectly. I was a little blurry, so we used a celebration picture instead. But so Winfield Mount Union beat Pekin 9-8. That knocked out the Panthers. I can tell you that Pekin had Isabel Green, who's an 8th grader. She had 3 hits and an RBI in that one for Pekin, and Maya Bainbridge knocked in 4 runs for the very dangerous Pekin Panthers. They only lose Alex Parsons, who's a really good hitter, a really good player for them, and their shortstop. But they'll have a lot coming back next year. So that made Winfield go to Holy Trinity on 2 nights ago, and I'm still recovering from this one. I'll just tell you the final score right now is 10-9 Holy Trinity in 9 innings. It was 5-1 Winfield for up until the 5th. Holy Trinity storms back. They scored 2 in the 5th and then 4 in the 6th to go up 2 runs into the top of the 7th, which was kind of like, oh my gosh, Winfield's losing for the first time, and now they have to score 2 in the top of the 7th. So, top of the 7th. You got 2-3-4 up for Winfield Mount Union. Nelson triples to the fence and scores, so then they're only down 1. Let's see. We got out, infield single, and then a RBI double from, and let me make sure that we got her name right here, Aubrey Valencia, 8th grader that's right in the middle of that lineup. 8th grader comes up with 2 outs and a girl on second. The season is on the line. First pitch. Actually, I even said to Chris Dewar of KHK was standing beside me, I said the girl on second should try and steal third, see if he can overthrow, because you don't want to leave it up to an 8th grader with the season on the line. First pitch, rockets it into right field for an RBI double. That tied it up. Bottom of the 7th, I think that Holy Trinity had 2 on, no outs. Lauer was able to stop that. Top of the 8th, nobody scores. Bottom of the 8th, nobody scores. Top of the 9th, Winfield scores 2. And in fact, Valencia had another huge RBI in that one. Also, Kelly Milks had the double to make Winfield take the lead. And I wrote in my notes that she had one of the more savage, dabbing used to be a thing. She took like 4 seconds on it. In the history of high school softball, that one's up there. So they're up 9-7. But Holy Trinity has their better hitters up. Yep. I think they had 2, 3, 4 up in the bottom of the 9th. Down 2, they load them up. They scored 1, so it's a 1-run game at this point, 1 out. Here's the controversy for anyone who hasn't heard about the controversy. Bases loaded, 1 out. Girl hits the ball, and it hit the girl running to second base. So
she should be out.
Yeah, she was out. Second baseman was there they would have gotten an out. I don't think they would have gotten a double play or even gotten the run at home. But now the umpire's like, oh, what do we do here? Because there were runners.
Advancing.
Bases were loaded. So they decided on the ruling was that everyone still advances. So then Holy Trinity actually tied the game on a ball hitting one of their players. So there's an argument. What are you supposed to do at this point? Are you supposed to get them back to their original bases? Or do you let everyone move up 1? Which I've literally been reading the rules on it for 2 days. I actually think that the umpire got it right. Now, at one point I thought they got it wrong. But anyway, that was controversial. Then with 2 outs, a little looper into left field ends the Winfield Mount Union softball season 10-9.
That's tough.
Holy Trinity moves on. They'll play Twin Cedars. And Keota had lost to Highland in 1A, so we were already out that team. We already talked about Pekin, Waco, all of them gone. So, Hunter, who is our only Class 1A softball team left?
The Highland Huskies.
The Highland Huskies. And
Playing some great ball.
Familiar situation. Yes.
Yeah, Highland so far, you mentioned they took down Keota 13-1. And then they got a 4-2 win over Callum Sweetland, and that sets them up with a very enticing matchup, in my opinion.
Yes,
and
I agree.
Teams from the same area, relatively. Sigourney taking on Highland at Sigourney. And obviously, Sigourney has been kind of ranked in the top 5. I think they fell below the top 5 as of now, but they were ranked inside the top 5 for the majority of the season.
Yes.
And, arguably the best pitcher in the state is at Sigourney. Carly Goodwin heading to UNI. .270 ERA.
That's crazy.
And, she's going to be going up against the likes of Sarah Burton,
Peyton Brunn.
Peyton Brunn, and Grace Prybill and all them over there. And, some real hitters for the Huskies. So very enticing matchup, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah. Carly Goodwin has 297 strikeouts this year. This year. She has like multi-strikeout games every single time.
Yeah.
But if you're I remember this from the old like Morgan Christner days and Maddie Anderson days. Mm-hmm. If you're a superstar pitcher in softball, the one thing that you're a little scared of is fast batters that are at the top of the lineup that can just get a single and then run around the bases on you.
And that's pretty much everybody on there in their line. Yeah.
Yes. Highland beat Maddie Anderson and Winfield doing that exact thing. A few years ago, while Winfield was ranked, so they can definitely do it. Actually, Sarah Burton, I think she's a freshman. She scored the winning run there. So
really?
The fact that Burton and Brunn are both there, they're both batting over 450.
Yeah,
they got a shot in that one. That one, by the way, is tonight.
Yep.
That's a small school game in 1A, and our only other small school left in Class 2A.
Yep.
Who, Hunter?
The 4th ranked Cardinal Comets,
who just continue.
Man, they've. You mentioned about Washington playing some tough opponents all season long. Bell Cardinals played Washington. It seemed like every week Cardinal was playing a ranked opponent. Like, I think they're really battle tested. They took down number 2 Wayne earlier, midway through the season, and that's kind of how they jumped inside the top 5 after that win there. They got a 3-0 win over Grandview Christian on Wednesday, yesterday. Oh, wait, today's Friday, 2 days ago. And they will be taking on another familiar opponent over there out east, or west. I'm just messing everything up.
Yep.
Out west. But
West.
Eddyville Blakesburg Fremont will be their opponent. Another tough team. I've seen them the past two years knock out Van Buren last year. I think the year before, I can't remember. Maybe
I watched them on
I think I watched them
SCTV.
play against Fairfield last year.
They knocked out Van Buren.
Yeah.
The
And that was a close game last year too. So
Cardinal of our teams, Cardinal softball, they just want to.
I feel like this
rob
is
them on the
Cardinals'
brackets.
moment.
This should be
because Cardinals had like the same roster for the past 4 years, and it feels like they've only gotten better. And I remember they were like one of those 8-win teams, or like maybe when the senior class was a freshman, pushing double digits. I should say.
Even 8th graders, they started to really win as freshmen. Well, they got first off the fact they had to play Grandview Christian. That's a tough team. That's not an easy team for the 4th ranked team to play first.
Yeah.
Eddyville Blakesburg Fremont, I believe, is ranked now. They're a 21 win team. They're one of those SCC teams, by the way. Yeah, they're ranked 13th. And then if they win, they have to play maybe I-35,
which is another tough
ranked
team. Yep.
So usually not the bracket you get if you're the number 14. By the way, so the SCC only had one team that's out between their 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 teams in the conference. They have went 7-1 in the first round of the tournament. Even their bottom teams were beating teams. Eddyville Blakesburg got third to last. They're ranked.
I know.
Cardinal, though, they're the conference champions.
Yep.
So let's see real quick for tonight. If Cardinal and Eddyville Blakesburg, they've obviously played a few times this year. Has Cardinal swept them, or did Eddyville steal one?
Cardinal gets both wins, 4-3, 2-1.
4-3-2-1. That's going to be. We're going to have some really good games tonight.
Yeah.
And those are two of them: the Highland game and the Cardinal game. Those two teams are. They've been carrying the small school flag in softball in the later rounds, and both teams 2 wins away from the state tournament, and Washington 2 wins away from the state tournament. So that's our softball. We'll talk a little baseball in the next break.
Yep.
We'll say a goodbye to some of our a lot of our smaller school teams that are now out, and look forward to tonight's 3A matchups.
Yes.
We'll see you after the break.
Attention Hy-Vee shoppers, introducing Hy-Vee Perks, your ticket to exclusive savings and rewards. Access exclusive perks, prices, earn gas discounts, and unlock special deals. All this for free. Join Hy-Vee Perks today and start saving.
At Seafirst Credit Union, we're all about making connections, like how we connect you to that dream vacation with a savings account designed to help get you on the flight there. Connect with Seafirst today and see why together is better.
I am Melissa Westfall with Homegirl Realty. Heather and Charlotte and I have worked together for many years, and we have always had a vision to have a business together.
I'm Charlotte Howard, and the good news is we bring a very high level of experience. We have a combined 80 plus years of experience in this real estate marketplace.
I'm Heather Merrick, and Homegirl Realty brings a lot of things to the table. We have phenomenal communication with our clients, buyers and sellers, to make sure things are going smoothly and you don't have anything to worry about.
In the heart of rural Iowa, where community matters most, the connections we make are made to last. Meet KCTC, your hometown internet, phone, and TV provider. At KCTC, we're not just about technology, we're about people. Our dedicated team are your neighbors, committed to bringing you top-tier services right where you live. We believe in giving back to the community that raised us. Experience the power of a real connection with KCTC. Join us in building a stronger, more connected Southeast Iowa.
Welcome. You know what? There's not many things that I consider more beautiful than the faces of myself and Hunter Muller, my co-host. But it's hard to follow up that fairway sign. That was our last commercial coming from the break. The fairway sign is there. That's a hard follow.
I really enjoy having this TV right
sign.
here.
I do too. I love that TV. We should kind of have a watch party. Maybe next time the Fever play the Sky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can save that. We can talk about that at the end.
Yeah.
Who wins Rookie of the Year?
Yeah, Caitlin Clark. I was going to wear a Caitlin Clark jersey, but I decided to wait because I might be going golfing tomorrow.
Sounds like fun.
Let's go through quickly on the small schools. Basically, the basics, the long and short of our 1A and 2A competitors, and that we did not have a lot of luck this week.
No, we didn't.
I saw New London and Keota win their first round games, but New London was knocking out Pekin.
Keota beat Danville.
Yeah, and Keota beat Danville. New London and Keota then went on to lose in the second round.
Yep.
New London only lost 9-1, and Notre Dame is ranked.
Yep. Number two.
At number two, and it took 2 days for Notre Dame to vanquish the Tigers because of the rain delay. Keota's out 5-0. Did you see any of our small school baseball teams?
I haven't.
You were at softball.
Oh wait, Van Buren lost to Cardinal.
Yeah, Cardinal and Van Buren played, and Cardinal knocked out Van Buren in 2A. So we've had a little union on union violence there, knocking out some of our teams. But I saw Hillcrest lose a heartbreaker to BGM 7-6 at Hillcrest. They were down 1 going into the last inning with 9-1-2 up, and just BGM threw their shortstop. I was talking to their camera guy. They're like, "Oh, this kid usually doesn't pitch in clutch situations," and he was lights out. So that was a dagger. And then at that exact same time, like a little bit before that, we heard the bad news that Mid Prairie had fallen
2-1
Mediapolis.
2-1.
So that was tough.
And also in 2A, Cardinal went on to lose to Interstate 35 8-1.
Yes, hopefully, maybe that's just a little setup for a little revenge on the softball field, huh?
Yeah.
I-35 beats them on. I-35 beats them on baseball, and then they come back and beat them in softball. If you want a little extra motivation, Cardinal fans, for winning that, if you do beat Eddyville tonight, I-35 didn't give my wife a job. She applied right after college. I'd be living there. Now
That's crazy.
Lived here, but either way, take out the Roadrunners.
You don't resent.
No, I don't even take I-35 because of that. out of support for the Cardinal Comets, I won't even be going on I-35 anymore.
That's funny.
Are there any other schools named after roads?
It's got to be. I remember I saw Interstate 35 and I was like,
They're actually in Truro, by the way. The Roadrunners. Give them credit. They have cool.
Last night I learned the town of Wyoming, Iowa. That's where Midland's at. I didn't know Midland was in Wyoming.
We got a Wyoming. We got all sorts of.
It's like, where's Midland?
Yeah, we got all sorts of cities. I mean, Washington. We're in Washington right now.
Yeah,
Washington is the capital of our country. It's a totally different state, and then it's also a town. Did you know that? I need to do a story on this maybe this fall. Did you know that there's another city, I think maybe in Pennsylvania, where Washington and Mount Pleasant are rivals? Remind me to do more research on that.
All right.
That the other day. But let's look ahead. We're not about looking back on this show. We actually are a lot of the time. But let's look ahead, because tonight we have, along with the Cardinal and Highland softball games, we have
enticing matchups.
Some enticing Class 3A baseball. Yes.
Baseball.
3A baseball. Now, let me tell you how they do it when they decide on what's going to happen to the South Central Conference or Southeastern Conference in the baseball brackets. What they always do is they just take the 5 3A teams, Mount Pleasant, Washington, Fairfield, Fort Madison, Keokuk. They stick them in the same one every single time.
Yep, and normally they're playing each other the first round.
Yep, normally they're always playing each other the first round, and they always grab some teams from Davenport or Cedar Rapids or something and throw them down into this bracket. So Hunter, first off, you will be in Fairfield tonight.
Yep.
And the Trojans will be looking for their 4th win over the Keokuk Chiefs in the last 2.5 weeks.
So first game of the season, 8-6 win for Fairfield. Second game, 13-4, and then the final game, I was at that one, 10-0. They're looking for the sweep over Keokuk, and obviously still dangerous team because as we mentioned every time the Southeast Conference plays each other, it's more times than not it's a close game, and obviously, I mean, that first game was close, but you don't want to look down on the Chiefs in this one. You want to be playing your best ball, which Fairfield has been playing some great ball as of late.
Great baseball.
So they'll be looking to get a win there, and you'll be in. Want me to throw it to you for Mount Pleasant tonight?
Yes, I'll be in Mount Pleasant. Quite the different story with.
You're gonna be looking for a little revenge.
Yes, Mount Pleasant will be looking for revenge because let's throw you back to a couple weeks ago.
A little heartache there for.
Yes, Mount Pleasant and Fairfield were tied for first in the SEC baseball standings. Mount Pleasant just happened to be having a 3 games against Fort Madison to close the year out. Fairfield happened to be going against Keokuk to close it out. Now, in the first 2 games, which I was at in Mount Pleasant against Fort Madison, 10-0 win, 11-3 win, dominance from the Panthers. But they went down to Fort Madison on that Thursday with the conference on the line, and the Bloodhounds played spoiler. Mount Pleasant was up 4-0. Bloodhounds scored 4 in the last 3 innings to send it to extra innings, and then walked off the Panthers, a 2-out walk-off. So Fort Madison spoiled a share of the SEC championship for Mount Pleasant. And now the Panthers will host the Bloodhounds in the tournament. Something that happens. I feel like Mount Pleasant and Fort Madison have played each other in the first round of the tournament for like 4 years straight. Every single year they go against each other. So we'll see who everyone pitches. We know that Fort Madison's got some pretty good arms. Hunter Cresswell, Luke Helligy. A reminder for people who know that name from Holy Trinity, the Fort Madison has the Holy Trinity kids, and they're pretty good kids. And so I'm curious about, Hunter, for both Fairfield and Mount Pleasant especially, is who is going to pitch tonight. If you're Fairfield,
this is where it's tough being a high school baseball team because it's really tough if you are only. I mean, you want to be like 4 guys deep.
Yes,
like preferably.
You do.
Because you throw your ace one night, you can't throw them the next night depending on the pitch count, which is what's it up to now? Is for where you have to.
Well, you can only throw 110.
So many days.
But once you throw 65, I think that's the 3 days.
3 days.
So I think if you throw 65 tonight, you can't pitch in the 3 days on the 15th, which is Monday?
Yeah.
Which is the next round. Now, if Fairfield wins, they would more than likely play Davenport Assumption. who will be playing Davis County at 5:00 tonight. So you'll know who won that game before Fairfield's over. Assumption's very good. Does Fairfield save Dane Burkhart, who has a under 2 ERA?
Yeah, true.
Do they roll the dice? They've done pretty good with rolling the dice because the other pitchers have been stepping up. Nate Consol's been basically unhittable the last few starts. So do they do that? Sometimes teams in that situation will not start the ace, but then just be like, all right, he can come in if we're in trouble. And then Mount Pleasant has more of Ben Newton, Zach Newton, and Peyton Hagens are all a little closer together.
Yeah.
They've it's in and out. Ben Newton's their number one, but I don't know if they'd probably throw Ben Newton tonight. I think because the other two are pretty close to him.
Like Mount Pleasant's one of the more deeper in the bullpen, I'd say.
Yeah. They probably have more. Yeah, they're just more balanced in the arms. It's less of an issue for them. But Fairfield, it's like, Dane Burkhart, you throw him against some of the best teams, he could shut him down.
Yep.
And then our third game at Central DeWitt tonight.
By far the hardest matchup of our three teams.
Yes, Central DeWitt 22-12, very good. And I'll tell you what, Demons will be throwing the kitchen sink at them. You got all. It's just you let out the goose and go after him. I'm not sure if that's even a saying.
Hey, it is now.
And you hope because you're the 8 seed that Central DeWitt maybe tries to roll the dice a little bit, maybe doesn't throw their ace against you. And that we see more upsets in baseball than anything else because of this, because you have to figure out the pitching. And we know Washington has played ranked teams close this year. They've been in the game a lot. They're 5-20. They haven't been able to pull out a lot of those wins. But you look at Washington's beaten Fairfield. Fairfield's
narrowly lost the last matchup 2-1.
Yep. Yes, exactly. Yeah. And that's a 20-win team. They took Mount Pleasant to extra innings, actually led by like 8 with 2 innings to go. Mount Pleasant's a 20-win team. They've battled close against Fort Madison, who's a really quality team. I think did one of their Burlington games pretty close to the 3.
I think so.
So they can compete. They're not a squash team for Central DeWitt. So we'll see. Central DeWitt's got obviously some great hitters. Here's one boy to watch out for tonight. Jacob Maher is a senior, batting .463, 33 RBIs, 18 doubles, 3 homers. Watch out for that.
They're going to be pretty good.
Washington fans tonight.
And it's going to be, we talked about Central DeWitt before. You got to go all the way to the border.
Yeah, you got to go a long ways. I'm sure the Washington baseball team has no interest in vengeance for the Mount Pleasant softball team last night. But if they did for some reason, that would be a little extra motivation. Just to, kind of keep the Union together. We're called the Union after all,
Yeah, and then
you're supposed to be much love. We're 1-0 in the Civil War, if you think about it, the Union.
And looking at just their schedule and similar matchups, Central DeWitt did beat Fairfield 8-3, 15-3, and they did well. They've played some tough competition. They beat Burlington Notre Dame 11-2.
Yes, they have.
And beat Keokuk 12-1.
Yes, they have. This isn't good news. You're not giving me any good news over here.
What am I talking about?
Yeah, Central DeWitt's very good. Central DeWitt's very good. Williamsburg almost beat them. Central Iowa team. And they have not.
They were supposed to play. Weren't Fairfield and Busch Stadium?
They did, and that was kind of. They played a little. They did play a little bit. I forget how that kind of worked out, where it was rainy and stuff like that. So,
because I think that Cardinals game might have got canceled eventually, or something.
Yeah, it got moved back or something like that. It was a crazy. They did still play a little bit, but it was also. By the way, they've split against Assumption. Oh, by the way, one last thing before we.
You're saying bad news too.
Before we go, yeah, you're right. Before we go, so Washington's playing Central DeWitt. They're the number 1 seed in this bracket, but they are not the number 1 ranked right now, because when the brackets came out, they were ranked above Assumption. Assumption is actually ranked higher than Central DeWitt
on the rankings.
In the rankings now,
not in the brackets.
It would have been different, but the brackets came out a couple weeks ago. So that's tonight, 7:00, all 3 of those games. The only 5:00 game is the game that we don't have a team in, Davis County and Assumption. 7:00 tonight for Cardinals game against Eddyville Blakesburg, Highlands game at Sigourney, and then tomorrow 7:00 for Washington softball against Centrally.
Yep,
that's your schedule. So everyone, do what you do.
Yeah, only I mean, baseball's kind of just beginning, and then softball we'll know here in the next week.
And Hunter, let's just say they are busy tonight. Where can they read about this? Where can they recap all of the baseball and softball that will go
If they
on
want to
the next 2
recap
days?
it, they can check out the Southeast Iowa Union.
They sure could. We'll be online.
If they want to see some in-game updates,
at Union Sports page.
Come over to the Twitter. I said Twitter. Come over to the Twitter.
Or the X.
Or the X, technically.
Come over to
X now.
Yeah, don't sue us, Elon. No, he should. I think if we provoked him into suing us, I'm sure that his haters would probably come to our defense. We'd probably end up making money on the whole deal. But
Matt's like, hey,
at Union Sports page, at Union Sports page, and put my name on the lawsuit. I'll be fine. I'll figure out a way to spin it.
Get yourself a cyber truck or something.
Come chat with us. Hunter, you'll be in Fairfield.
Yep.
I'll be in Mount Pleasant. I'll almost certainly be down the first base line if I can beat the Fort Madison fans there. And so come chat, come hang out. Southeast Iowa Union Sports Talk will be back probably next week.
Yep.
And we will talk about what happened
Exactly.
tonight. And hopefully we'll be previewing some sub-state and regional finals. Hopefully. Or we'll just have
very sad.
We'll wear all dark and mourn if all the teams are out. So then what are we going to write about? All right, that's all we got.
Yep.
Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for substitute.
Feels good to be back.
Feels great to be back, and in our old place.
Nostalgia.
Great nostalgia. So everyone just think about how thankful you are that Southeast Iowa Union Sports Talk is back on the air.
Yep.
And
On this
shout out
beautiful
to our
Friday.
on this beautiful Friday. We'll see you tonight. We will see you tonight.